And now it's time for Windy City Sports Talk. And your host, Ryan Young. Hello, Chicago. Welcome to this live Tuesday, November the 29th edition of Windy City Sports Talk. I am Ryan Young. For the next half hour, we're going to recap, preview everything going on in the world of sports. You want to follow me on Twitter, it's at ringside_rep. Not much action going on of last night. No Chicago sports. We'll get into the Monday Night Football game because that is kind of technically local with the Packers. But of course, first I want to talk about some of the news that is national over the last 24 hours. It kind of took place yesterday. I didn't have a chance to address that on yesterday's show because we had a lot to cover over the Thanksgiving weekend, so that's my apologies. But thoughts and prayers go out to what happened yesterday in the attacks at Ohio State University. We were just talking about Ohio State University yesterday after their big win over Michigan State, but obviously that pales in comparison to to what took place yesterday. Apparently, a man that could be linked to terrorism had a knife and was stabbed some people and was hitting them with cars. So I don't know if anyone died, but thoughts and prayers go out to everyone. It's vicious. I mean, me and Papa Sean were talking about this morning, how he's like, I'm surprised it didn't happen. He said, I'm surprised that didn't happen at the sporting event when Ohio State was hosting Michigan on Saturday. But the thing is that I'm not in the mind of a terrorist, know what I think, but you would think, because it seems like how the gist of this goes is that they go after. They want to catch you off guard, and sporting events just would be such for them an easy hit. But everyone knows that it's coming. Now, if you go to a sporting event, and my cat just stepped up right in front of the microphone, so I don't know. He's gonna come on, go, and he's up here just being a pain. But anyway, he's gone. But so I think that because I go to a Wrigley Field. And I go to a Cub game, and you have to walk through the thing. You got to walk through metal protectors. They don't pat you down, but I think I'm not sure if they do the wand. I know I was with 100,000 people at WrestleMania last year, and that could have been an easy target for terrorism. And they checked you very well. So did Levi Stadium 2 years ago for the first WrestleMania. So, when there's a big event, that's where terrorism is, they're prepared for that. I think when you're a terrorist, not saying that I know one or would think like that, but they want to catch you off guard. And I think doing a sporting event or a big event is not catching someone off guard, because I think 9 times out of 10, they are prepared. You're not prepared for what they would do, but they want to shock the world. And I don't think that's shocking the world. So that's probably why they do it at these little things and take. But it's getting closer to home. We're in Wisconsin and Illinois, and Ohio's not too far. So it's sad, it's a shame, but thoughts and prayers go out to them. Also, there's wildfires going on in Tennessee. I got a chance to go to Nashville in June. Probably the best trip I've been to 2 WrestleManias. Like I said, going to be going to my 3rd. But just a beautiful city is Nashville. So thoughts and prayers go out to Tennessee, and the wildfires is windy, so they keep on carrying. I'm not sure. I know there's stores that have been on fire and stuff, so thoughts and prayers go out to them, and hopefully that stops, because I know usually you hear wildfires, you think of California, but it's not California right now, it's them. So hopefully that comes to an end. And that's all that kind of stuff out of the way. I just started getting, I don't have that sore throat, it's that annoying throat, so it's dry. So, and I just taped Ringside Report, got a little bit of a break in between, and talking for a half hour is probably not going to do much good. So definitely after the show, probably going to take a nap or lay down, and that's going to be my night. And that'll save me from not eating. I just went to Applebee's. I went to go see the new movie, Almost Christmas. Hilarious. Monique is in it. She's like the mother-in-law, because it's like they're dealing with their first Christmas as their mom passed away, and she's like the sister of the mom that passed. Hilarious, recommended it. It's a tearjerker too, and I've come to notice I'm only 25, but I tend to cry with a lot of things. So definitely. And then we went to Applebee's, and I'm like, I got the salad and the soup, but then all of a sudden they tempted you with $1 dessert. So I went with that. So now I got to be a good boy, and I think I'm having chicken stir fry for dinner, and I think can't eat till then, and then that'll be okay. But second day, I went to, and this turned into a story of my life apparently, but I went to Snap Fitness again for the second time today, and the thing I like about Snap Fitness is they have TV on the screens while you're working out. Like, not like one screen, everyone has to watch the same thing, but separate screens. And I'm like, okay, it's great. Well, yesterday I picked the one treadmill that didn't have it. Then today I picked one that only had one channel, but then I found out each one has its own box after I switched like two treadmills. And then after I got that taken care of, and my cat decides to make another cameo. You can go now. And then after I get all that taken care of, because lesson learned, do not break in shoes and work out at the same time. Because I came home, my back of my heel of my right foot, blood. So, and I go early in the morning, catch the first bus, bring the first bus home. So I get my workout in pretty early, and then I stay awake. But anyway, that's my second day. So hopefully now that I'm getting the gist and getting into the routine, these things will start coming much easier to me. But now that I've wasted 7 minutes of your time talking about things no one cares about, except recommending the movie Almost Christmas. And I want to go see Bad Santa, too. But, if anyone out there wants to watch it with me, feel free. Okay, let's talk about Monday Night Football last night. I said it might have been a must-win for the Green Bay Packers last night, and I think really they played to their ability. They played very well. Did not get a chance to watch the game, but even Packer fans after that win, Packer fans have been very quiet this year. They haven't really had that much to hoot and hollering about. But Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, they're saying, okay, now this is our time. This is where now we're going to start winning football games, and we're going to make a push for the playoffs. And that's, the way they played last night, now they now have the same record as the Philadelphia Eagles, and they're still in the hunt for the wild card. The Packers have a better opportunity of probably winning the division than getting a chance at the wild card. Aaron Rodgers last night, 30 for 39, 313 and 2 touchdowns. And then Starks, 17 for 41. Adams, 5 for 113. Jordy Nelson, 8 for 91. Then you shift gears to the rookie Carson Wentz, 24 completions and 36 attempts, 254, which still isn't bad. So, the Eagles would have definitely liked this game. It would have completely threw in the towel it would have probably really threw in the towel for the Packers to try to really make a run into the playoffs. So that saves them and keeps their hopes alive. And like I said, with the Bears sucking, it usually keeps the entertainment factor in the playoffs locally, being able to see the Packers be in the playoffs and root for them to lose. And so it is a game that I think you expected the Packers to win, and it looked like Aaron Rodgers and I tuned in every once in a while. I had to watch Raw because I have a wrestling show I have to cover, and it was every time I tuned in, it just seemed like Aaron Rodgers had that look back. He did, and he also got hurt in the first half, which made him seem somewhat. And he was injured, but then all of a sudden it still seemed like he was bringing it. He was still doing his thing. He was still making some excellent passes. Get up limping, but he'd keep on chugging. So, you got to give the guy credit, even though a lot of people don't like him. You still got to give credit to what he's been able to do, and it's a tremendous job by him and the Green Bay Packers, and they keep their hopes alive. And next week they'll be, I'm not sure, I forgot who they're, I believe it's the Houston Texans at Lambeau. The Packers right now just reaching a stretch where they have to play a lot of games on the road, and now they finally get a chance to return to Green Bay. So we'll see if they'll be able to do that. But now what does that do for the Philadelphia Eagles? Does that tap them out? Are they done now? Because, you give them that opportunity to possibly come in and kick the Packers while they're down. All they might have done is woke up a sleeping giant. And, it doesn't really affect them. If you're looking at wild card, because it looks like the Cowboys are in the, no, it's not, the Eagles aren't, I don't think they're in their division. Maybe they are, I don't know. But, that they probably the Eagles need to depend on a wild card. And they might not get it. So, I think a win last night would have been good, would have helped them out to possibly get that opportunity. And unfortunately, that wasn't what they were able to hand they were dealt, and they ran into Aaron Rodgers. And Rodgers right now is playing very well. Not sure if there's any extent to that injury, but it's still a part where you want to be able to kick them while they're down, and that was not the case last night. A very well-played game by Green Bay. And the defense, I mean, Aaron Rodgers has been good all season, but it's the defense that's struggled. But last night, it looked like the defense finally woke up, did their thing, and they were able to go about their business. So the Packers get a W, and I think that keeps them. See if I can get the standings on here without everything going haywire. Let's see here. I know. Let's see. The NFC, the Eagles are in that division, by the way. So the Cowboys pretty much got that division in hand. So the Eagles' only chance is to get a wild card. Right now, they're in last place. The Giants look like they're going to lock up that first wild card at 8-3, and then probably that second wild card. I mean, I heard a fact not too long ago that I believe it's been a long time since a NFC East got one wild card team, and now this year they have an opportunity to cash in with two, because the Redskins at 6-4-1, Eagles have lost 2 in a row, which I think might hurt them very much. You're probably not going to see 6-5. They're still 2 games behind. The Packers are still 4 games behind, 3. So I mean, it keeps them alive in the NFC North. But and the final game of the regular season is Lions-Packers, but the Packers pretty much have to win out if the Lions keep on winning. Now, the Vikings are still there, but I mean, starting 5-0 and still having to be in this mix, and they're still a game out, leads you to believe that I don't know if they have much air in that balloon. And the Packers, I think everyone has at least one more game left against one of their opponents in the NFC North in that division. So, and I mean, the Packers have to play the Bears, and if the Packers are the Packers in that game on December 18th, then I think there might be some worries of what you're going to get. Worries from a Bears point of view. Like, it's not but I mean, it also helps the Bears' chances of getting a very, very good wild card pick, which I mean, obviously is depressing to think about, but at this point, there's really nothing else you can really do. Because you're hoping for wins, but you're not getting them. And I think I think this is the 1 week coming up that the Bears are pretty much favored to win and they're for the rest of the season. So you have to prove at least you can beat the Niners. And if you can't beat the Niners, then this team deserves to maybe even be worse than the Cleveland Browns. And they're not going to win it. If they don't win this week against the Niners, then they're probably not going to win another game this season. So I mean, the wild card in the NFC, I think, is going to go to the Giants. And maybe one of them teams in the AFC or the NFC North. But again, the Redskins are only that tie might be hurting them and helping them. So I think it'll be interesting to see what comes out of that. But again, the Cowboys are just running away with it at 10-1. Giants are 8-3, and the tie, like I said, can hurt or help you. And the Redskins at 6-4-1, and the Eagles, I think, if a win there 6-6 keeps them around the same thing as the Redskins. And I think the Eagles have not had. I don't know. They would have been 6-5 with that win. So I think they would have been almost even with the Eagles. And I think that's around where that second wild card is going to come from, because 6-4-1, 5-6, 6-5, 6-5. So really, they would have been right up there with the second wild card for the Eagles. So I think that was a tough loss for them. And after losing 2 in a row, that hurts them. So the Eagles might be on the outside looking in. So we'll see. But of course, that's the up-to-date standings as the Packers win and keep their opportunities alive of getting that Super Bowl or getting to the playoffs, which I believe I think they have the longest streak, besides the Patriots. But I know the Packers have a pretty long streak right now going of consecutive years with a playoff appearance. And when that team gets in, I mean, look at last year. They were able to beat the Washington Redskins, and then all of a sudden they were able to come and they lost a tough one to the Cardinals, who I believe were my Super Bowl pick this year, and they might not even make the playoffs. And I haven't even looked at my playoff picks. I mean, my predictions for baseball were disgusting, so why would anything be different in the NFC? Cardinals are 4-6-1. So they will their opportunities of looking at a wild card not looking too good. There's been some baseball news today concerning signings. There's also the CBA is up tomorrow, I believe, or Thursday at midnight. So a lot of interesting things. Of course, the Blackhawks back at the Madhouse tonight against the Florida Panthers. So we have all that coming up. We're halfway through the show. I still have a voice. I'm still capable. I'm not sure. The full cold might kick in by tomorrow. We don't know. But what we do know, ladies and gentlemen, is that the Windy City Sports Minute begins right now. This is your Windy City Sports Minute for Tuesday, November the 29th. No local sports last night. Blackhawks and Bulls were both off, but there was Monday Night Football as the Packers pick up a win over the Philadelphia Eagles to keep their hopes alive of possibly getting back in the NFC North. In other news, of course, thoughts and prayers go out to all those affected in the events that happened at Ohio State University yesterday and the wildfires in Tennessee. Tonight, the Blackhawks will be back out on the ice, finally back at the United Center to battle with the Florida Panthers. It'll be a 7:30 puck drop on Comcast Sportsnet. Also, if the CBA can't come to an agreement, there's a possible lockout as the CBA expires for Major League Baseball tomorrow, Thursday at midnight. So MLB needs to try to get that going to hopefully avoid any kind of a lockout. That is your Windy City Sports Minute. Now back to Windy City Sports Talk. We're back here on Windy City Sports Talk. Second half of the program to go. Some news, baseball news, of course, like I said, Monday, even though I haven't really checked it through with Mr. Television. I believe Monday we'll have Scott Beatty on. We'll have a full baseball episode. We'll have the Windy City Sports Talk. So really, I won't be recapping Talking Bears or anything until Tuesday. Because Monday will be our one episode where we're hot stove all day. So to get ready for that, as I always love talking baseball, and Scott Beatty likes to talk, so I figured, why not? It'll be fun. So that'll be Monday's show, as it'll be the first Monday of the month. I believe the first Monday of January will be off, so he'll probably be on the second one, but let's just get through the first one and see if I can tolerate it. But some baseball news coming out of the CBA, and we'll talk to Scott about this on Monday, as of course I also said it on the Windy City Sports Minute, is that Thursday at noon, the CBA is up. So there's a possible, and apparently according to Buster Olney on ESPN today, on Mike and Mike said that they're still far away from a lockout. But with no agreement, there is a big possibility that the winter meetings that begin on Monday or Sunday or Monday, is a possibility of them or them being canceled, which isn't a big deal. But but that's where usually a lot of the moves happen. I mean, last year at the winter meetings, the Cubs were able to get Ben Zobrist and Jason Hayward. So, I mean, that's where the place where a lot of the signings kind of come together. And baseball hasn't had a lockout. I remember, I want to say early 2000s, I remember they were able to come to an agreement. The Cubs were facing the Cardinals that day, and they were able to finally get that game going. But before the game, they had to come to an agreement before a lockout. The last lockout was 94-95, which I believe the Montreal Expos were tremendous that year and would have been favored to win the World Series, and here they had to cancel the end of that season. So I haven't really been a part. I remember the football lockout, I remember the hockey lockout, I remember the basketball lockout. Footballs didn't affect any games. Theirs ended. So I have not seen a baseball lockout. To my knowledge, I was 4 or 5 years old when that happened. So, and coming off such an amazing year for baseball, I think it definitely hurts. I mean, even for the Cubs, and the way that World Series ended, and such a great Game 7, and baseball has such positive momentum. And here, if the CBA and Tony Clark and all the owners can't get this together, I mean, right now, it's safe to have a lockout right now. When you don't want a lockout is in the end of January, because February you start talking about baseball again because pitchers and catchers return in the middle of the month. So you get that back to going. So, I mean, if you get a lockout now, get going, bust your humps on trying to get it back to baseball. Now, of course, you're getting into February and March, you're starting to affect games. And when you start affecting games, things aren't going to go well. And, of course, there was a lot of thought, okay, because it seems like baseball's been the only one that's been able to band together, and they kind of love bragging about that, and it's a good thing that the CBA have always been so good in Major League Baseball. And unfortunately now, there might be a possibility, and I mean, this would just be irritating. And I mean, because you want to see the celebration. I'm excited for April 10th, whether I'm there or not, to be able to see the celebration of the Cubs winning a World Series. And to be able to see everything and the triumph. I mean, even my first game going to Wrigley this year, which will probably be on that homestand, is just built off of excitement. But now, I mean, with the possibility of this not happening, it hurts. Because you want to be able to enjoy a 162-game season as your team being the defending champions, and no one alive is going to get a chance to see that. Or has seen that, but has an opportunity to finally get a chance to say, my team, and the Cubs have all of next year to say, up until the World Series, unless they do it again, that, hey, we are the defending World Series champions. And I mean, with the lockout, the Cubs maybe would have another year, but I don't want that. I want to see the Cubs defend their title, and I want to see a banner raised. What I think they should do is cut out of the part of the vines and do it like a painting of it. Like, you know how the measurements or the distance is painted onto the brick? They should do that with the banner. I mean, I know they're going to have a flag somewhere, but I think you need to make the World Series banner noticeable. And I think it'd be great to have it right on the ivy. But we'll see. They kind of tick and tat with that, but it's a shame. And hopefully baseball gets and the owners get things right, and we see Major League Baseball with no flaws, no lockout, and hopefully there's no cancellation of the winter meetings, because I really I enjoy watching the coverage of the winter meetings. That's pretty much what I'll do all next week. I mean, I really don't watch. I like seeing the stuff. I believe the last couple years they've been in Nashville, beautiful hotel, and I believe this year they're in Maryland. So if they happen again, I'm gonna go on MLB.com right now and see if there's any kind of official thing that they're canceling the winter meetings. I know our next story just got back. No. And also the WBC would be affected, because the World Baseball Classic is going to start in March. And I think I always loved that. I always loved the WBC as well. The Dominican dominated last time. But to be able to possibly see the national, or to be able to see the U.S. try to do it, and maybe Chris Bryant be a part of it, and Rizzo was a part of Team Italy the last time 4 years ago, so that'd be fun. So again, hopefully we have an update and positive news on that as the weeks progress. Also in baseball, today Yoenis Cespedes signed a 4-year deal, $110 million, which makes him the highest paid outfielder, which kind of shocks you, because I mean, Sammy Sosa, I'm sure, got paid a lot of money. But he probably got chipped because, and that's what I also think, Michael Jordan has made more money since he's retired than what he did when he was playing, because I don't think the sport had as much money as it does now, which made it very, very hard to, so I mean, sure, that's why he's made so much money off endorsements and everything else, and he owns the Hornets, so I mean, I'm sure that comes into effect also, but I still think that's great. But Yoenis Cespedes, still obviously a very talented player. Of course, he helped the Mets go to the World Series a couple of years ago when they eliminated the Cubs. Yeah, he's got a great bat. I think he fits in New York. So I think he's going to do fine there. And I think now, of course, that pretty much leads to a lot of people believing that Jay Bruce is going to get released from or get traded, because, of course, they got him from the Cincinnati Reds. Cub fans know a lot about Jay Bruce. And it's just, they're hoping that maybe they can... well, if they trade him, I'm not sure if they're going to get anything back for him, but still trying to get an opportunity to get something for him. So again, but I think it's a good move there. Nothing really else happening over the last 24 hours in baseball, but Yoenis Cespedes, a lot of people thought he was going to leave and go elsewhere, but I mean, keeping him puts the Mets, and that's going to make the Mets. The Cubs cashed in last year. A lot of teams had injuries and weren't 100%. So I think you could possibly see that Cubs dominant hitting against that Mets dominant pitching one more time in a National League Championship Series next year, because 100%. I wanted to see that this year. I wanted to see the Cubs face and also the defending champions who were hit with injuries this year. So, I mean, getting a chance to possibly beat the Mets in the NLCS and beat the Royals in the World Series, I think, was the pick. I don't think anyone saw the Cleveland Indians. They kind of came out of nowhere. And the Cubs were able to take advantage. So, that was big, because if they wouldn't have won it this year, you're not exactly sure what happens. Like, can they win it? And I was even thinking in the back of my head, if they can't do it this year, I mean, do you give up? I mean, they're so close you can taste it. You never can guarantee to get back there again. And I mean, now that you've won one, you want to get back there again. You want your chance to defend it. I'm not sure if that's ever happened where a team's made it 2 years in a row and then there's a defending World Series champion and lost. Part of me wants to think the New York Yankees did that. Because, I mean, you get teams winning back-to-back, but I want to know if any teams won it one year and the next year make it and lose. Now that I say that, I probably jinxed the Cubs, but hey, if you can get back there, you have a World Series. But it's always like you say, like you never know how you can love your second kid more than your first. But I'd like to give it a try when it comes to a second World Series. Okay, so let's off the baseball front. Like we said, Hot Stove report will be coming up Monday, with or without Scott Beatty, damn it. Probably without Scott Beatty, we'll talk about a lot. But again, baseball coverage one day a month where we'll talk fully about baseball during the offseason. Okay, now it's time to preview the one game of Chicago sports tonight. Got the Blackhawks hosting them Florida Panthers, 7:30 Comcast Sportsnet. A couple interesting things, and like I said on yesterday's show, I do follow the Panthers on a regular basis. And, of course, they have the ageless wonder Jaromir Jagr. They have a veteran goalie and Roberto Luongo. They got some young talent. This team won the most games in franchise history last year. And were able to get into the playoffs, and they lost in the first round. But they fired their coach yesterday, Gerard Gallant. That might have been Sunday night, but still, unfortunate for him. He's probably brought the most excitement that they've had down there in Florida, besides the Tampa Bay Lightning, probably the most excitement that state has seen when it comes to hockey. And I think this is still a team that I believe is one game over 500. They're still trying to win. They still have a chance to be a playoff team again. And I believe they've been riddled with injuries this year also. So, I mean, they're trying to bounce back. And, of course, now and I went on a kind of a little of a scourge yesterday, how they have their GM, Tom Rowe, I believe his name is now coming down to be their head coach. I'm not sure if it's of an interim basis where after this season, which there's still a lot of season left, they'll find someone new, or if he's going to be the guy forever. Or not forever, but going into next season. And I think it's stupid to have your GM who handles things upstairs and then have him handle the stuff down on the ice. And it seems like it's only with Florida teams. Pat Riley, it worked out for. Won a championship with the Heat. It did not work out for the Miami Marlins when they fired Mike Redmond and had their GM come down there, Dan Jennings. And this is probably not going to work either. It's probably going to be, excuse my French, a shit show. And this could bring the Florida Panthers back to being a blip, not even a blip on the radar. So, I mean, that's honestly what the possibilities are of what's going to happen. But, I mean, the Hawks coming off a 3-1 circus trip now get a chance to come back home. They play tonight, and then they play Thursday night at home. Then they have a day game on Saturday against the Philadelphia Flyers, a noon start. So, I mean, they'll be back on the road. And like I said, the Bulls will also be on the road this weekend. So I think this should be a good matchup. The Hawks, I think, take advantage, kick a team while they're down there. They've not many things going right now for the Florida Panthers. So I think right now they got to come out, try to step up, do their thing. Hopefully Jonathan Toews, of course, Nick chimed in yesterday saying day-to-day with the upper body injury, because in hockey they never really give the exact explanation of what the heck's going on. It's upper body or lower body. And in MLB and other sports, they give you down to the tendon and what happened and all that. So I think the Hawks tonight hopefully can pick up a victory and stay on the positive side. I think the fans will be glad to see the Hawks back home after that long trip. And hopefully with a couple of games at home, they'll be able to really keep it going as the Hawks try to keep the winning ways going. Again, they had a couple of tough ones on that road trip, but now they're hoping to try to bounce back and do it again. So again, that is tonight, 7:30 Comcast Sportsnet. Preview for tomorrow, we're going to recap Blackhawk Panthers, hopefully after a win, and then we will preview Bulls-Lakers as the Bulls return to the Madhouse following their circus trip. So that will all be coming up on tomorrow's show. Once again, we'll be live. Of course, we're live today. And the only day we probably won't be live will be Fridays. So work with me. Glad to be back in my normal little hut where I do the show and have technology, and it's much easier for me to do a show with some stats. So everyone have a great day. Beautiful weather for being almost December, but I'm sure it's going to be snowing soon. So we'll be back live tomorrow at 3. I'm Ryan Young. Have a great day, Chicago.